What's going on, everyone? Trevor Hansen here. Today we're going to work on some trick tips and we're going to work on the Heelside 180 and all the steps that you need to take to get this thing dialed in. So some of the things that you need to get this Heelside 180 dialed are you definitely need to have a surface 180 and be very comfortable riding switch. Want you to be able to cross the wakes both ways and just be really comfortable riding switch. That's going to be the position that you're going to land this trick in, so we want you to be very comfortable switch. The next thing is a one-wake takeoff, so make sure that you've done some one-wake jumps where you feel good about taking off and not getting a ton of air, just 1 or 2 feet of air, and landing cleanly in the middle of the wakes. You're going to want to slow the boat speed down when you do this so that you're not at your full speed. So starting from the beginning on the Heelside 180, you do it the same way that you do your surface 180s. So when you do your surface 180s, you're on the water, you've got your knees bent, and all you're doing is putting a little bit of pressure on your front foot and then pulling that handle across your body until you start to turn, and then focusing on getting your hips and your shoulders to turn all the way, and then keeping that handle right there by your side, and now you're just riding in your switch stance. So when you do it off the one wake, it's the same thing. You just want to take about a 5 or a 6 foot approach so that you're not edging out too far. Focus on getting a nice little kick off the top of the wake, not a ton of air, just a little bit. And when you push off the top of the wake, push off the top, make sure that you get completely up in the air and off the water before you start to do anything, and then it's more of a on the way down. So as soon as you get up off the top of the wake, you start to think about pulling that handle and turning those shoulders, and then just get it nice and quick over to that other hip. And then what helps a lot of times is actually landing with your opposite hand off of the handle. So if you're right foot forward and you're doing a Heelside 180, you're going to be landing left foot forward, and you can remove that right hand off the handle. That'll help you get turned all the way. Make sure that your board's in that full 180 when you land. From there, just bend your knees and get into a comfortable landing position. So if you're coming in left foot forward and you come in and you hit the top of the wake and you pull that handle to your right hip to turn, come around and land, one of the most important things is to make sure that your chest is over your toes. It's really common on the Heelside 180 to get your board out in front of you and get your chest back so that you're not actually landing over your board. So you want to make sure that your center mass stays over the board. You push up off the top, you keep everything tall and over top of it so that when you land, you're landing with your knees bent, your chest over your knees and over your toes so that you can continue riding out on your toe side edge. That becomes extremely important when you go from the one wake to landing wake to wake, because it's even harder to get your chest forward. So once you've got those wake jumps dialed in, you're ready for the 180. The keys to doing it wake to wake are pretty similar to the one wake. You want to make sure that you get a really good push up off the top of the wake. You're standing tall, but the key is to really wait when you're going wake to wake. A lot of people try to go up off the top of the wake and do the 180 way too early. You really want to wait until you're almost on your way down before you start to turn the 180. So edge out just like you would on a wake jump. As soon as you get to that wake, you're gonna push nice and tall, go nice and big, and then just kind of hang out for the first second of the jump. And then as you feel yourself coming down, you're gonna pull that handle hard to the back hip, turn your hips and shoulders, and really on the wake to wake when you have to exaggerate how far you turn your shoulders so that you can get over your toes enough to actually land. You'll see once you do it a couple times, it's really common to fall back on your heels on that Heelside 180. So you gotta really turn your shoulder a little bit, overturn it, so that when you come down, you're landing enough over your board and on your toes so that you can continue to edge out. A little trick that can help you get your shoulders forward and make sure that you're getting over your toes enough is to let go with your back hand. When you try to hang on with 2 hands the whole time, you do that 180, and because you've got all that tension here on your back arm, it will pull your shoulder this way instead of allowing you to turn. So sometimes letting go with that back hand will give you enough ability to turn those shoulders and actually get your chest forward enough to where you can continue to ride. So if you try it a couple times and you realize that you're falling back and it's because you're hanging on with 2 hands, try at the last second, right as you're hitting the water, letting go with that back hand and rotating those shoulders a little bit more so that you can continue to edge away from the boat. So if you've been trying the 180 for a little while and you just can't get it, the two biggest mistakes are definitely that you turn too early off the top of the wake. So if you're not waiting long enough to turn, so if you hit the wake and you find yourself out of control and you just can't quite dial it in, you're probably trying to spin a little bit too early off the top of the wake. So try to really exaggerate how long you're waiting before you make that pull and turn. So go up first, wait a split second, and then pull on that handle. The second biggest mistake is definitely slipping out or falling back on your heels and not getting your shoulders in front of the board enough. When you do the 180, people will get the board out in front of them too much and land on their heels or land on their butt. So if you find that you've been trying the 180 for a while and all that's happening is you're landing back on your heels all the time and you're never falling out the front, you're never getting your shoulders in front of the board. So we actually want to see you fall out the front just as much as we see you fall out the back. So make sure that those shoulders are coming all the way around, that you're turning them up and getting your chest and all of your center of gravity over top of your toes so that you can continue out edging when you land. The 180 is definitely one of the biggest fundamental tricks that you need to progress in your riding. So really dial this one in, spend as much time one wake as you need to get it feeling really good before you go wake to wake. Once you get that Heelside 180, it opens up a whole new box of tricks that you can learn. So we really want to focus on this one and get it dialed in. Enjoy it, have fun out there, guys.